Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare states $quarter coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we're diving into a very special piece of American coinage, the 2001 Vermont Quarter from the United States of America. Yes, that ordinary-looking 25-cent coin with the maple trees on the back might just be hiding a massive secret. What if I told you that one of these seemingly common coins could be worth more than a brand new luxury car? You heard that right, so stay tuned, because we're about to explore what makes this Vermont Quarter one of the most surprising hidden gems in modern coin collecting. Let's talk about the coin itself first. The Vermont Quarter was part of the famous 50-state quarters program, launched by the U.S. Mint to honor each state in the Union. Vermont's quarter was released in 2001 and features a beautifully engraved image of a man tapping maple trees for syrup, framed by bare trees with buckets hanging from their trunks. It's a tribute to Vermont's long history of maple syrup production and a proud piece of state heritage. Now, here's where things get exciting. While millions of these Vermont quarters were minted for circulation, not all of them were created equal. In fact, a few rare specimens came out of the mint with errors that turned them from everyday pocket change into highly valuable collector's items. So, what exactly are these errors? And how can you spot one? The most valuable Vermont Quarter errors typically fall into three main categories: off-center strikes, double dies, and die cracks. Let's start with off-center strikes. This happens when the coin isn't properly aligned during the minting process, causing the design to appear shifted to one side. Depending on how far off-center the strike is, and how much of the design is still visible, these coins can be incredibly valuable. The more dramatic the error, the more collectors are willing to pay. Next, we have double die errors. This is when the coin is struck twice with a misaligned die, causing parts of the design, especially the text or finer details, to appear doubled. On the Vermont Quarter, look closely at the words Vermont, Freedom and Unity, or E pluribus unum. If you see a clear doubling of the letters or features, you may be holding something truly special. Then there are die cracks and cuds. A die crack appears as a raised line or bump on the surface of the coin, usually caused by a worn-out die. Cuds happen when a piece of the die actually breaks off, leaving a raised blob or lump of metal on the coin. Some Vermont quarters with large die cuds have sold for hundreds and even thousands of dollars due to their uniqueness. One rare variation that collectors dream of is a Vermont quarter with a dramatic reverse die break, especially across the maple tree buckets or through the words. These are incredibly scarce, and when they do show up in auctions, the bidding can get intense. Now, how can you determine if your coin is valuable? First, examine it under good lighting, preferably with a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Look for anything out of the ordinary: doubling, shifted images, unusual raised lines, or missing elements. If you suspect you have an error coin, consider having it professionally graded by services like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade can dramatically increase the coin's market value and make it easier to sell to collectors or through auction houses. Speaking of auctions, recent years have seen a growing interest in error coins, and the Vermont Quarter is no exception. Collectors are scouring online listings, estate sales, and coin shops in search of that rare error that others may have overlooked. There have been verified auction results where pristine Vermont error quarters have fetched thousands, and in one stunning case, a particularly rare double die reverse, combined with a clean off-center strike in near-perfect condition, sold for a jaw-dropping $60,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. $60,000 for a single Vermont quarter that most people would never think twice about. So, now the question is, have you checked your change lately, if you've got a collection at home, or even just a handful of coins you've saved over the years? Take a few minutes to examine them. Who knows? You might be sitting on a small fortune without even realizing it, and if you've ever found a Vermont quarter with any kind of unusual feature, a doubling, an off-center design, or a strange raised mark, we want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell us what you found. Or if you have questions about your coins, feel free to ask. We love helping fellow collectors discover hidden treasures. Top 2, we're setting sail on a journey through American history, right into the heart of Mississippi, to talk about the 2011 United States quarter dollar featuring Vixsburg National Military Park. This coin is part of the America the Beautiful series, and it might look like just another quarter at first glance. But don't be fooled, there's something hiding behind that majestic image of a Civil War gunboat that could make this coin one of the most valuable quarters ever minted. Now listen closely, because this is where it gets fascinating. Released in 2011, the Vicksburg Quarter honors the rich history of Vicksburg, Mississippi, and its critical role in the Civil War. The reverse side of the coin features the USS Cairo, an ironclad gunboat that was part of the Union fleet. The design is absolutely stunning, an ode to strength, strategy, and survival. But among the millions of these coins minted for circulation, a very small number came out different. And those differences are what drive collectors wild. So what makes the Vicksburg Quarter so special? It all comes down to minting errors, rarity, and condition. Let's break it down. First up, double die errors. This happens when a coin is struck twice with a slight misalignment. If you take a close look, especially at the text like Vicksburg, Mississippi, or E pluribus unum, you might notice a ghost-like doubling of the letters. These double dies are rare, but when they do appear, they dramatically boost the coin's value, especially if the doubling is sharp and obvious to the naked eye. Next, off-center strikes. Imagine the coin blank wasn't lined up correctly during the minting process. The result? A design that's partially missing or skewed to one side. The more off-center it is, without losing critical details, the more collectors will pay. In fact, some collectors actively seek quarters that are 10%, 20%, or even 50% off-center. If you find one of these, especially from the Vicksburg issue, you're looking at serious collector interest. Then there's the holy grail of coin errors, die cracks and cuds. A die crack is a raised line that runs across the coin, caused by a fracture in the minting die. A cud, on the other hand, is where a piece of the die actually breaks off, leaving a blob-like feature on the coin's surface. On the Vicksburg Quarter, some of the most desirable errors show cracks running through the ship's smokestacks, or massive cuds obscuring part of the gunboat or surrounding water. These coins are ultra-rare and instantly eye-catching in a collector's showcase. So how do you know if your quarter is special? Here's what to do. First, always check the coin under good lighting. Use a magnifying glass or coin loupe to inspect the text, the edges, and the ship detail. Look for anything unusual, doubled letters, blurry outlines, blobs of metal, or off-centered design. Even a tiny flaw can make a big difference. Next, check the mint mark. Most Vicksburg quarters will have a P, D, or S below the words, "In God We Trust." The San Francisco Mint, S, versions were made in smaller quantities and are often proof coins, which are struck more precisely. If you find a Vicksburg quarter with an S that shows an error, you may be holding something extremely rare. Now, let's talk condition. A coin's grade plays a huge role in its value. The closer a coin is to uncirculated or mint state, the higher the price it can command. Coins graded MS 65 or higher, especially with visible errors, can explode in value. That's why professional grading by PCGS or NGC is key if you think you've got something special. And here's the exciting part: in recent years, collectors and auction houses have started to take serious notice of these era Vicksburg quarters. Some have been listed in rare coin shows and numismatic auctions, with prices climbing into the thousands. But among them, a single error coin, showcasing a dramatic off-center strike combined with a clear double die reverse and a unique die break, stunned the collecting community. It was pristine, certified at a high grade, and unlike anything else in circulation, and that one incredible quarter was sold for an astonishing $55,000. That's right, $55,000 for one Vicksburg quarter with the right error, the right condition, and the right collector demand. That's the kind of find that can turn a casual collector into a lifelong enthusiast, or a lucky coin hunter into someone with a story that numismatists talk about for years. So if you've got a 2011 Vicksburg quarter sitting in a drawer or mixed into your change jar, now is the time to take a closer look. It could be more than just a reminder of American history. it could be your next big discovery. Top 3. We're heading into the misty wilderness of Tennessee to uncover the secrets of a coin that's capturing the attention of collectors everywhere, the 2014 United States quarter dollar featuring the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Now, don't be too quick to pass this one up. What may look like a simple 25-cent piece in your wallet or change jar might actually be one of the most fascinating and valuable coins from the America the Beautiful series. That's right, this one has a story, a legacy, and in some cases, a shocking value. So settle in, coin enthusiasts, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, and why this particular quarter might just be worth a small fortune. First, let's take a moment to appreciate the design of the Great Smoky Mountains Quarter. Released in 2014, it was the first quarter of that year's America the Beautiful series, honoring one of the most visited national parks in the entire United States. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll see a beautifully detailed log cabin nestled among tall trees, with a majestic hawk soaring in the sky above. The words, Great Smoky Mountains, and Tennessee, are carved into the coin with pride, but as beautiful as the design is, what really excites collectors is what shouldn't be there, or more specifically, the errors and anomalies that make some versions of this coin extremely rare and incredibly valuable. So let's talk about the kinds of errors that turn this ordinary-looking quarter into a collector's dream. One of the most desirable errors on the 2014 Great Smoky Mountains quarter is the double die error, especially on the reverse. Collectors have reported noticeable doubling on the hawk's wings, the lines of the log cabin, and even the tree branches. When a coin is struck twice with a slight misalignment between strikes, it creates this ghosting effect that's clear to the trained eye, and in some cases, even visible without magnification. These coins are rare and command serious attention at auctions. Another high-value error is the off-center strike. This occurs when the blank planchet isn't lined up correctly during the minting process. If you find a Great Smoky Mountains quarter where the image is shifted to the side, especially if 5% or more of the design is missing, you could be holding a valuable mistake. The more dramatic the misalignment, the higher its appeal to collectors, and let's not forget about die cracks and cuds. A die crack looks like a raised, thin line on the surface of the coin, often appearing across the trees or roof of the cabin. A cud, on the other hand, is where part of the die breaks off entirely, causing a blob of extra metal to appear, usually on the rim or near the lettering. These features are the result of stress and fatigue in the minting equipment, and they're often one of a kind. There's also something else to watch for: struck-through errors. That's when a piece of debris or cloth gets in the way during the striking process, leaving a ghostly imprint or texture on the coin. While rare, these errors on the Great Smoky Mountains quarter have been spotted and are highly prized. So, how do you know if you have a special coin? Start by examining both sides carefully. Use a magnifying glass or loupe and check all the text, especially Great Smoky Mountains, E pluribus unum, and Tennessee. Look for any doubling, distortions, or blobs of raised metal. Also inspect the hawk, the cabin's roof shingles, and the trees for anything that looks off. If the coin looks misaligned, or if some details are missing, that's a major clue. Next, check the mint mark, found on the obverse side near Washington's shoulder. Coins from the Philadelphia Mint, P, Denver Mint, D, and San Francisco Mint, S, each had their own production runs. The San Francisco coins, especially the silver-proof versions, were made in much smaller quantities. If you find an error on an S-Mint coin, it can dramatically increase the value due to its already limited supply. Now, let's talk real-world numbers. Over the past few years, the numismatic community has seen a growing demand for error coins, especially those from popular national park series like this one. At auctions and online collector markets, error-laden Great Smoky Mountains quarters have sold for hundreds, sometimes thousands, depending on the condition, rarity, and type of error. One particular coin, an uncirculated Great Smoky Mountains quarter featuring a deep double die reverse, partial off-center strike, and a die crack running through the tree line, was authenticated by a top grading company, and it shocked the coin world when it made headlines. That single coin was eventually sold to a private collector for a jaw-dropping $45,000. Yes, you heard that right, $45,000 for one rare quarter that most people wouldn't think twice about if they saw it in their change. That's the magic of coin collecting. That's the thrill that keeps collectors searching, hunting, and hoping. So now the big question: have you checked your quarters lately? Could you be holding one of these hidden treasures without even knowing it? If you've ever come across a great Smoky Mountains quarter with something strange or unusual, we want to hear about it. Drop a comment below and let us know what you found. Maybe you've got a coin that just doesn't look right, or maybe you're holding a mystery that we can help you solve. And if you love discovering coins with rich stories, hidden errors, and surprising value, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on that notification bell. There are so many coins out there waiting to be uncovered, and we'll be right here helping you on your journey. Top 4. We're diving deep into a quarter that captures the spirit of one of America's most beautiful natural treasures, the 2014 United States quarter dollar featuring Shenandoah National Park. At first glance, this coin might look like just another piece of everyday change, but listen carefully, this coin has secrets. Hidden within its metal are rare errors and unique features that make it one of the most sought-after quarters among collectors right now. If you love the thrill of the hunt or simply appreciate the beauty of American landmarks, stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why the Shenandoah Quarter is turning heads and wallets. The Shenandoah Quarter was released as part of the America the Beautiful series in 2014, honoring Virginia's breathtaking national park known for its rolling mountains, scenic skyline drive, and vibrant wildlife. The reverse design on the coin perfectly captures this essence, with a soaring peregrine falcon flying over the mountain ridges, surrounded by towering trees. It's a stunning tribute to nature, but what really makes certain coins from this batch incredibly valuable are the errors that crept in during the minting process. Now, let's talk about the kinds of errors and anomalies that can skyrocket the value of your Shenandoah quarter. One of the most notable errors collectors search for is the double die error on the reverse side. This occurs when the coin is struck more than once with a slight misalignment, causing parts of the design to appear doubled. On the Shenandoah quarter, this doubling often shows up on the falcon's wings, the mountain ridges, or the text like Shenandoah and Virginia. If you spot any doubling that looks like a faint shadow next to the letters or images, that's a red flag, and a potential goldmine. Another fascinating error is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank isn't perfectly aligned during striking, resulting in a quarter where part of the design is missing or shifted. Some collectors prize off-center coins where 10% or even more of the design is missing, especially if the visible part of the design remains sharp and detailed. Imagine a Shenandoah quarter where the falcon is flying off the edge. These quirky mistakes can add thousands to the coin's value. Don't overlook die cracks and cuds either. A die crack is a raised line or fissure caused by a fracture in the coin die, which often shows up on the trees, mountain ridges, or even the falcon itself. Cuds are bigger chunks missing from the die, leading to blobs of raised metal on the coin's surface. Each crack or cud is unique, which means if you find one on your Shenandoah quarter, you're likely holding a truly rare collector's piece. Another interesting anomaly collectors love to find is the struck-through error. This happens when a foreign object like a grease spot or fabric fragment interferes with the coin as it's being struck, leaving behind ghostly imprints or unusual textures. These can appear as smudges or odd patterns on the reverse or obverse and often increase the coin's collectible value. If you want to find out if your quarter is special, here's what to do: examine both sides carefully under strong light using a magnifying glass or loupe. Look for doubled letters or images, off-center features, raised lines, blobs, or strange textures. Check the mint mark on the front near George Washington's neck. Coins with the S mark from the San Francisco Mint, particularly proof versions, were produced in limited numbers and are highly prized if errors are found. Condition is everything in the coin world. A Shenandoah quarter that's uncirculated or in mint state condition will always be worth more than a heavily worn one. Professional grading by companies like PCGS or NGC can give your coin an official grade, often dramatically increasing its market value if it's a rare error. Recent years have seen a surge in collector interest for error coins from the America the Beautiful series, and the Shenandoah quarter is no exception. At recent auctions and private sales, error coins showing double dies, off-center strikes, or die cracks have sold for prices far exceeding what you'd expect for a 25-cent coin. One particularly remarkable Shenandoah Quarter, featuring a sharp double die reverse with a significant off-center strike and visible die cracks along the mountain ridges, recently caught the eye of collectors worldwide. After thorough authentication and grading, this coin sold for an astonishing $46,000, yes, you heard that right, $46,000 for a single Shenandoah Quarter with the perfect storm of errors and pristine condition. This just goes to show that even the smallest coins can hold immense value when rarity and history collide. So, what about you? Have you ever stumbled across a Shenandoah Quarter or another coin that looks a little unusual? Maybe you've got questions about your collection or want to know how to spot these valuable errors yourself. Drop a comment below and share your finds or ask away. I'm here to help you decode the mysteries in your pocket. Top 5, we're shining a spotlight on a quarter that might just be hiding a fortune in your pocket, the 2013 United States quarter dollar featuring the Great Basin National Park. This quarter is part of the popular America the Beautiful series, and while it might look like a simple 25-cent piece, there's a world of rarity and value beneath its surface that every collector needs to know about. The Great Basin Quarter celebrates Nevada's stunning national park, famous for its ancient bristlecone pines and striking mountain ranges. The reverse side showcases a majestic image of the Wheeler Peak and the iconic Great Basin bristlecone pine, one of the oldest living trees on Earth. But here's the kicker. Some of these quarters have rare minting errors and unique features that turn them from everyday currency into collector's treasures worth tens of thousands of dollars. So, what makes the Great Basin 2013 quarter so special? Let's break down the key errors and features that coin lovers are hunting for. One of the most sought-after anomalies is the double die error, especially on the reverse side. This error happens when the coin is struck twice but the two strikes don't perfectly align. On the Great Basin Quarter, doubling might be visible on the tree needles, the mountain peaks, or the lettering, like Great Basin or E pluribus unum. This doubling creates a shadowy or fuzzy effect that's a dead giveaway of a valuable error coin. Next up is the off-center strike error. When the blank coin isn't lined up correctly during minting, the design is partially cut off. Off-center Great Basin quarters with a noticeable portion of the image missing, say 10% or more, are highly collectible, especially if the remaining design is crisp and clear. Imagine the towering bristlecone pine or the mountain peak shifted dramatically toward one side. These imperfect strikes are rare and can skyrocket a coin's value. Then there are die cracks and cuds, subtle but significant errors. A die crack appears as a raised line or fissure on the coin's surface, usually running through parts of the landscape or lettering. Cuds are larger raised blobs caused by chunks of the die breaking off. These unique features turn every coin into a one-of-a-kind piece. Some collectors specifically seek out Great Basin quarters with these marks because they add historical minting character and value. Another fascinating error to watch for is the struck-through error. This occurs when debris like grease or cloth fragments get trapped between the die and the blank, leaving strange textures or indents on the coin. Struck-through errors on the Great Basin Quarter often show as smudges or odd shapes on the tree or mountain design and are prized by collectors looking for truly unique coins. If you want to find out if your Great Basin Quarter has one of these rare features, here's what you need to do. Carefully inspect your coin with a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe under bright light. Look closely at the lettering, the bristlecone pine needles, and the mountain outlines. Any sign of doubling, off-center images, raised lines, or unusual textures should raise your antenna. Also, pay attention to the mint mark located on the obverse side near George Washington's neck. Coins minted in Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, or San Francisco, S, each have different rarity levels. Proof coins from San Francisco are generally rarer and more valuable, especially if they contain errors. Now, what about value? The market for error coins has exploded in recent years, and the 2013 Great Basin Quarter is no exception. Rare error examples, especially those that have been professionally graded and authenticated, are commanding astonishing prices at auctions and private sales. One particular Great Basin Quarter with a clear double die reverse, a significant off-center strike, and visible die cracks recently sold at auction for an eye-popping $65,000. Yes, you heard that right, $65,000 for a coin that most people might overlook as just spare change. This sale made waves in the numismatic community, proving that these seemingly ordinary quarters can hold incredible value if you know what to look for. So, what about you? Have you ever found a great Basin quarter, or any coin, that looks a bit off? Maybe the letters seem doubled, or the design doesn't quite line up. Share your experiences in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories and help you figure out if you're sitting on a rare treasure. Top 6. We're uncovering the secrets of the 2011 United States quarter dollar featuring Gettysburg National Military Park, an iconic coin that might just be worth far more than its face value suggests. So listen carefully, because if you're a collector or just someone curious about coin treasures, this video is packed with info you won't want to miss. The Gettysburg Quarter is part of the America the Beautiful series, celebrating one of the most significant sites in American history, the battlefield where one of the Civil War's pivotal moments took place. The reverse design on this 2011 quarter beautifully depicts a statue of Union General George Meade, set against the rolling hills of Gettysburg. This coin doesn't just commemorate history. For collectors, it represents a potential goldmine, especially when rare errors and unique features come into play. Now, what makes the Gettysburg 2011 quarter so special? The answer lies in its rarity and the fascinating minting errors that elevate its value well beyond the ordinary point. One of the most coveted errors among collectors is the double die error. This occurs when the coin's design is stamped twice but slightly misaligned during the minting process. On the Gettysburg Quarter, this doubling can often be seen in the lettering, like the words Gettysburg or E pluribus unum, or in parts of General Meade's statue and the background hills. This doubling creates a noticeable shadow or thickening of letters and images, which is a telltale sign that you might be holding a rare and valuable coin. Another remarkable error to watch out for is the off-center strike. When the metal blank isn't perfectly centered in the coin press, the design shifts to one side, sometimes cutting off parts of the image. Off-center Gettysburg quarters where at least 10% or more of the design is missing are extremely rare and highly prized by collectors. Imagine a quarter where the general's statue is partially cut off or the landscape is pushed to the edge. These quirks can add serious value to your coin. Don't forget to look for die cracks and cuds, small but important flaws. Die cracks show up as raised lines on the coin's surface, often running through the statue or the lettering. Cuds, on the other hand, are larger raised blobs caused when a piece of the die breaks off. Each die crack or cud is unique and adds a story to the coin, increasing its rarity and desirability among collectors. Another exciting and less common error is the struck-through error. This happens when a foreign object, like a piece of grease or fabric, gets caught between the die and the coin blank during striking. It leaves strange marks, smudges, or unusual textures on the coin, making it one of a kind. On a Gettysburg quarter, this could mean odd patterns on the general's statue or the background terrain, instantly turning an everyday quarter into a collector's dream. To spot these errors, grab a good magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe and examine your coin under bright light. Check the lettering carefully for doubling or thick edges, inspect the statue and landscape for any raised lines or missing parts, and see if the design looks perfectly centered or oddly shifted. Also, keep an eye on the mint mark near George Washington's neck. Proof coins from the San Francisco Mint, marked with an S, tend to be rarer and more valuable if errors are present. So how much could a rare, error-laden Gettysburg quarter be worth? Well, recent auctions have shown that collectors are willing to pay serious money for these treasures. A stunning example of a 2011 Gettysburg quarter exhibiting a sharp double die error combined with an off-center strike and visible die cracks recently sold at auction for a jaw-dropping $54,000. Yes, $54,000 for a quarter. It's a reminder that even the smallest coins can hold incredible value when history, rarity, and error come together. Have you ever come across a Gettysburg quarter, or any coin, that looked a little different? Maybe the letters were doubled, or the design was shifted. I'd love to hear your stories and help you figure out if you might be holding a hidden gem. Drop your experiences and questions in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of America's most historic quarters, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss an exciting coin discovery. Top 7 and last rare coin. we're diving into a fascinating piece of American history, the 2002 United States quarter dollar featuring the state of Indiana. At first glance, this quarter may seem like just another coin from the early 2000s, but believe me, if you know what to look for, this Indiana quarter could be worth a small fortune. So, collectors, coin enthusiasts, and treasure hunters alike, listen up and enjoy the ride, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why this coin is causing such a buzz in the numismatic world. The 2002 Indiana quarter is part of the 50-state quarters program, which celebrated each state's unique history and culture. Indiana's quarter features a striking image of a race car speeding around the famous Indianapolis Motor Speedway, a nod to the state's iconic Indy 500 race. The reverse design perfectly captures the adrenaline and excitement of one of America's most beloved motorsport events, making this coin a special tribute to the Hoosier State. But what truly makes the 2002 Indiana quarter exceptional isn't just the design, it's the rare errors and unique features that can push its value into the tens of thousands of dollars. Let's talk about those special traits that collectors hunt for. One of the most significant and eye-catching errors is the double die error. This happens when the coin is struck twice but the two impressions don't perfectly line up, resulting in duplicated or shadowed images on the coin. On the Indiana quarter, this doubling can be noticed in the lettering of Indiana, the E pluribus unum, or even within the details of the race car itself. If you spot thicker or doubled edges on letters or the car's design, you might be holding a double die, one of the most prized errors in coin collecting. Another rare and highly sought-after error is the off-center strike. When the coin blank isn't properly centered in the minting press, part of the design gets cut off or shifted. Off-center strikes where a significant portion, say, 15% or more, is missing are especially valuable. Imagine a quarter where the race car is partially missing or the state name is pushed to the edge. These misaligned coins are uncommon and, when combined with good condition, can skyrocket in value. Then, there are die cracks and cuds, small imperfections caused by tiny fractures or chips in the coin die. These show up as raised lines or blobs on the coin's surface, often visible on the car's outline or the lettering. Each crack or cud is unique, turning your quarter into a one-of-a-kind collectible. Die cracks add a story to your coin's journey through the mint and are treasured by error coin collectors. Another fascinating mistake to look out for is the struck-through error, where grease, dirt, or debris interferes during striking, leaving unusual textures or marks on the coin. This can appear as smudges or weird indentations, often around the edges or within the car's image, and these striking anomalies make the coin even more valuable. So how do you identify these errors yourself? Grab a loupe or magnifying glass and carefully examine your coin under bright light. Look closely at the letters, the race car, and the edges for any signs of doubling, misalignment, raised lines, or strange textures. Also, check the mint mark on the obverse side. Coins from the San Francisco Mint, marked with an S, tend to be scarcer, especially proof coins with errors, which can increase your coin's value even further. You might be wondering, how much could a 2002 Indiana quarter with these rare errors actually be worth? The answer is jaw-dropping. Over the past few years, several rare error versions of this quarter have appeared in auctions and private sales, fetching extraordinary prices. One especially stunning coin, featuring a sharp double die combined with a significant off-center strike and clear die cracks, recently sold for an incredible $79,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. $79,000 for a 25-cent coin. This incredible price highlights just how valuable these rare minting errors can be, especially when paired with the rich history and unique design of the Indiana quarter. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever stumbled upon a coin that looked a little off or different? Maybe a 2002 Indiana quarter with doubled letters or an unusual strike? Drop a comment below and share your finds or questions. Let's help each other uncover these hidden gems and expand our knowledge as collectors. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of coin errors and rare quarters, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on our next treasure hunt. Thanks for watching, happy collecting, and remember, the next coin in your pocket could be your most valuable find yet.